Hi, I'm Karen Romano-Young, back to read some more of A Girl, a Raccoon, and the Midnight Moon, written by me and illustrated by Jessica Bagley, published by Chronicle Kids this year, 2020. Chapter 13, Almost Flattened. September 15th to 16th. For the next week, the library staff reacted to the Nichols incident by being extra careful at closing time. One after another, they checked Nichols's chair behind the atlas stand, not wanting to shut him in again. From across the street, on his stool behind the register at the Buckaby, Pearl could see Gully watching too, his curiosity or need for drama or business security unsatisfied. One night, Simon had to accidentally on purpose crash the book cart into the atlas shelf and wake Nichols so he could leave in time for closing. Pearl found herself considering Francine's idea that maybe Nichols had stolen Vincent's head. No way, Pearl told herself. What on earth would Nichols want with Vincent's head? At least it's not cold in September, Mom said, after he'd gone one night. It will be in October, said Pearl. Hey, the college students are back, said Alice, looking for something cheerful to say. There were always a few ragtag students who adopted the public library because it was quieter and cozier than their massive university stacks. They even took books out, which lifted Cirque a few more percentage points. Hope we're still here at midterm, said Ramon. You don't expect the starving students to pitch in for our miserable heating bill, do you? Asked Bruce. Or the spiral staircase. It's wobblier than ever, Simon observed. So use the straight stairs, said Pearl, who would admit nothing wrong with her library. If only there was more money in the world, said Ramon. There are so many amazing new children's books coming out, Alice said to herself. But when's the last time a new school-age kid came in here? It's the library's image, said Mom. Teens and tweens are too cool for it. The library is for moms and toddlers and old people. Pearl felt the burn deep in her tween heart. And homeless people. To change the subject, she asked, what does Mr. Nichols eat? She'd always wondered, but never felt like she could ask. Now, post-break-in, things felt different. She wanted Nichols to be okay. There's that soup kitchen in the basement of the firehouse, Mom reminded her. Who pays for that? Pearl asked. The city, said Simon. Money for soup kitchens, but not libraries? Asked Pearl. Mom gave her a frown. Food or books, Pearl? She asked. Which would you choose if you're the mayor? Bruce touched Pearl's shoulder. Or police protection? Or fire protection? Asked Ramon. Pearl swallowed. How could anyone choose? Houses, she said. Warm, safe houses with food and books. Alice said, that's what they want to put in here. Everybody should have both, said Pearl. Amen to that, said Mom, and hugged her. Amen, they all agreed. But to herself, as she and Mom packed their tote bags and headed home, Pearl thought, agreeing on needing houses and books was one thing. Waking Nichols to ask him to leave at night was another. Pearl started to think about the library at night, how it just sat there empty once Bruce finally left. Why couldn't Nichols sleep there? That night after dinner, while it was still light, Pearl walked to Tallulah's for the moon. She had a banana and a granola bar in her pocket, and she stopped at the library to pop the snacks into the little shed-shaped box she'd found, where the old clothes and the stack of letters were. It was almost dark by the time she walked back, wondering if a certain someone would find the food she'd left. She had just passed Gully's when she heard a thin, savage scream. Another scream? Yes. And another turning point, too. Pearl spun around. She glimpsed movement along the foundation of the library. A raccoon. A tiny one, nowhere near as big as the one she and Mom had seen from the stoop. Even smaller than the one Pearl had seen in the basement. A baby? At that moment, all of the following things happened. First, she heard a loud ack-ack-ack chattering, as if an animal was scolding. Second, a taxi came whizzing down Lancaster Avenue. The little raccoon was in the headlights in front of it, staring into the beam. The scream was nearer now, louder, coming from another raccoon in the alley, a larger one. It was screaming at the little one, trying to stop it. No, Pearl shouted, darting into the street. Pearl bounded into the headlight beam, scooped the wild animal into her hands, and jumped back to the sidewalk. Brakes screeched. The taxi driver gave a furious yell. "Stupid kid!" The taxi peeled out, and the traffic raced on. Pearl was shaking. The little raccoon was going nuts in her hands, spinning and twisting and doing its own miniature version of yak, yak, yak noise. The alley rang with the scolding of the bigger raccoon. Scolding Pearl now, she guessed, a mama worried about her baby. Pearl let the raccoon down gently onto the sidewalk. It dashed away into the shadow of the library, and both raccoons disappeared into the darkness. Pearl stood staring after them, but by the time her eyes adjusted from the glare of the street, nothing was there. "Got the paper?" Mom asked, as Pearl came in the door. "Right here," said Pearl. She kept the baby raccoon, the big raccoon, the taxi, the banana, and the granola bar to herself, not knowing why. The speeding taxi and the screeching raccoon had sent her dashing into the street toward a near-death experience. Why had she done something so risky? Drama and caring. The magic combination. Gully caught Pearl's eye as she passed his door on the way to the newsstand the next morning. He waved the paper at her, looking triumphant. Dread grew in her stomach when she saw the front page headline, "Troubled Neighborhood, Elusive Remedy." Yoiks' editor had won again. "What's elusive?" asked Pearl. "Hard to find," said Ramon, "slippery like an eel." "And are we troubled?" Well, he makes the neighborhood sound sad. In fact, Yoiks made the neighborhood sound more like it was trouble. You could only hope the story was part one of a multi-part series and that the next parts would be solutions or celebrations. The story was about a lot of little things that Yoiks made a big deal out of. It mentioned the animal graffiti that was suddenly all over Lancaster Avenue, as if there was something bad about street art. It mentioned the mugging outside Big Foods, as if one mugging was the symptom of a disease. And it lumped together a would-be library patron tripping the night alarm and vandalism of a historic statue, as if those things were connected, under the heading of mysterious midnight creepers, as if there was something naturally bad about being out at night. All of this made it sound as if the theft of the head and an intruder, Nichols, and the mugging and the coyote graffiti were all one big connected crime. When Ramon was done reading the story aloud to the staff, Pearl said, "Thanks a lot, Gully." It was obvious from several anonymous quotes that he had been a willing source for the story. "Is there a picture?" asked Simon. There was a small photograph of Vincent looking especially pathetic and headless, and a picture of a howling dog painted on a wall. No poems, no pictures of the library or its staff. The caption, "Lost on Lancaster Avenue, one stone head, much neighborhood pride." "We've lost our pride? This is like the last rites," said Bruce. "Next time we make it into the paper, it will be an obituary." Mom hugged him right in front of all of them. It was unusual, and Pearl felt like pebbles of light were exploding in her heart. Mom said, "Look, we tried to get the media on our side, and that hasn't worked. We've just gotten lumped in with other crimes." "Here's another way to look at that," Ramon said. "He starts by making the reader be concerned about the neighborhood. He sets up a scenario where people are looking for a way to fix it, the remedy. Maybe the first step to improving a scenario is to bring attention to it." "Those newspaper people aren't interested in helping us save our library," said Bruce, and that made Mom walk back out of his arms. Bruce was wrong anyway. Yoiks didn't like the headline any better than we did. He'd been overridden by his editor, which sometimes happens. Mom said, "We have to turn it around, that's all. Find a way to make the library vital to the community. That's how we get the votes we need to stop the apartments." "Vital to the community." Bruce looked weary. "That's a tall order." Mom said, "If we can just get more library cards into people's hands." "What people?" said Alice. "Children?" "Teenagers?" asked Simon. "Young women?" asked Mom, looking at Alice, thinking of mothers. "How about lonely people?" asked Pearl. "Or people who need some place to go?" She was thinking of Mr. Nichols going off alone into the dark with just that backpack. And she had to admit this, too, that she was thinking about Francine's sad, hurt face when she'd told Pearl why she'd come to the library the first time, to help someone, to help her, Pearl. Lonely people have more time to care, maybe, Pearl added. A sidebar about cannoli. I love words. I love being able to write exactly what I mean. Take the word sweet. It has two meanings that are different, but not so far apart. Bruce did not know what to do after Yoix's sad article about the neighborhood was published in the Moon, so he did something sweet in one meaning, with something sweet in the other meaning, a box of cannoli from Little Italy. A cannoli is a crunchy pastry tube, kind of like a cookie, that comes out of the oven soft, then gets rolled around a spoon handle to make a cylinder. It dries hard. Then it's filled with a mixture of mascarpone cheese, a soft sugary mush, and crushed chocolate chips. If you want to do something, both meaning sweet for me, go to Mulberry Street and buy half a dozen cannoli, cart them back to the library, put the box in the book elevator, push B, and forget about it. I'll take care of the rest. I'm breaking my own rule about advancing the plot. This sidebar doesn't. It's just an ode, a praise to cannoli, and to bringing food to hungry people, and to sweetness, caring, pick your own exact word, by M.A.M. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.